Welcome, A Train, all aboard. Tourism fans to A Train, all aboard. Tourism with Omnius Prime. Episode 4. Begin 2001 A Train Odyssey. This is a scenario that I've created. And now I'm going to have fun making some videos showing how to play my scenario. This is basically a handmade hypothetical map of Monterey County, and what I wanted to do was have some fun, bring some local flavor in. I didn't like the scenarios so much from the game, so I decided to make my own, and because what I wanted to do was have a nice map to build on. I've got, as you can see, some nice big, you know, city centers here, like Monterey and Carmel. I have industry, okay, like here in Seaside. And yep, there's going to be a trade port there. And more industry like here. Have some smaller towns, as you can see. That's Bell. This is Turlock. And over here is basically what I would call East Fort Ord. And then you have Salinas. This is where I live. And there's Seaside. And of course, Monterey Central right here. This is more like the west side. And it's got room for a bullet train and an airport. Okay. So now, you notice I don't have much money, 113 million. And I'm playing this on the expert level. So now one of the first things what I want to do is, for the rail building, is turn off the guardrail. Definitely don't want the guardrail. Now what I'm going to do is sell some land, okay? I could go to the bank and borrow some money, but I'm only going to get almost 3.5 million, okay? But this is California, so thar be golden, them thar hills. And rest assured, a lot of this land, I mean, you can see that the land value is super high. But what I did is I figured I'd want to make a scenario where I'm land rich and money poor, and then I can do some fun things. I had set this aside for a freight train, where you could run freight from the bottom of the map. It connects from the Bell to Los Gatos freight line, so you could initially have run it up here, run materials up to here, and then with trucks run materials here and here to build the bullet train and the airport. But and what that would do is cut the production time in half. And bullet trains 360 days would be 180. Airports 500 would be only 250 days. Okay. But what I need is some money, some seed money. So first thing I'm going to do is sell off some land. Get some seed money going here. Okay. There. Now, what I'm going to do is use part of this track here. I left room for up to a 3 wide station plus 2 for like a bus stop or residential building or commercial. So now what I'm going to do is use part of this line, okay, up to here. I'm going to create another station here opposite there. So what I'm going to do now is sell. So I'm going to do like a little turnaround there. So that's why I'm starting here. And let's just go ahead and now sell some land. Now notice I'm being very careful not to sell land where I intend to place tracks. This is like a huge maze. Okay, so what you got to do is follow the maze. and see how I've laid out all the tracks before I did any buildings and stuff. I laid out all the tracks. Okay, now I picked up 3.22, about 3.1 billion right there. Okay, now if I go back to the bank, okay, I can borrow 3.789. So what I'm going to do is do a loan request for 3.7 billion right there. I'm only going to borrow for 1 year. I'm going to do a series of short-term loans. Okay, this loan won't last very long because what I want to do is build up banker trust. See, there's no stars here for banker trust, and the way you do that is to take out loans and then pay them back. So instead of long-term loans, I go with a series of short-term loans. Okay? Now that I've got some money, what am I going to do first? Well, how am I going to make some money? I have 4 trains running right now. Okay? And we're going to be expanding them. They're 5 lengths. They're all perfectly timed. I have 4 buses. Okay? So what I'm going to do first of all is that's not going to generate some big money quick, but what I can do is trade. Okay? We've got to build a trade port here. You can see I've got a material factory. I got fisheries here. So what I'm going to do first off is spend a little money here on storage areas. So I'm going to buy 3 material warehouses, enough to stock up 36 product. Okay, I don't need to stock up a ton right off the bat. I'm going to build this big marine warehouse here. Okay. Now, Salinas. I'm going to build a large agricultural warehouse here. Salinas, as you can see, I got 4 agricultural cooperatives feeding this warehouse, and you can put up to 2 more. Right now, we do not need to stock up a whole bunch. Okay? And then over here, there's Bell. It's also got a nice material factory. I'm going to buy 2, 3 material factories. Now, really quickly, I put a material factory 2 here unwittingly. I never thought about using this to provide materials. But in my beta testing, I realized, oh wow, this will be great. So what I'm going to do is buy 1, 2, 3 tiles right now so that I can place 3 material warehouses there when I'm ready to start running the train from Bell all the way to the left to Los Gatos. Now here, I also have Turlock. Whoopsie, not there. Here we go. So I'm going to build another large agricultural warehouse right there. Okay, and it's got 3 agricultural cooperatives that's feeding it. See, 1, 2, where's the other one? 1, 2, 3, up there. Okay, if I turn it like that, I can see all 3 like that. Okay, so it's got 3. They're a little wider spaced apart. And Turlock is the turkey capital of the world, so it's famous for turkeys. So now I've got some storage space set up for 2 areas of agriculture and 2 areas of materials plus 1 of fish. Okay? So that I've got that done, now I'm going to do something kind of slick here. See this square of 4 empty spots? You'll find in Monterey and Carmel that I did this to put bus stops in, up to 5 bus stops. But You can either put the bus stops in, or you can build buildings in there, and then sell them. And that's exactly what's going to happen here, because here's another way to make some money. Okay? Government policies. I'm going to go to Monterey, going to build 3 buildings, construction price subsidized by 20%. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is build apartment 4s. I love apartment 4s. 736 million building price, so it's good for subsidies. Only 1 staff required. So let's go here. I'm going to place one here. And then I'm going to place another one here. Because why did I pick this right away? I'm going to expand this train station from 5 to 7. If I don't put something here blocking this, the train station will expand over into this tile and that. So I decided to build buildings here right off the bat so that I force the train station to expand to the left. And then I'm going to go over on the other side here to Monterey Presidio and rotate and rotate in there. Now I've got 3 apartment 4s building, and now I'm going to have $441 million subsidy coming on May 15th. Okay. Now here's the big deal. Okay. Digital research, which is okay right there. That black Office 2 building right here. It was there really was a digital research. It used to make DR-DOS and DR Windows. IBM asked them for to buy the operating system, but the owner said no. So IBM went to Bill Gates, and of course he did the leasing thing. So here I could sell this for almost $7.5 billion in revenue, make a quick profit of $4.8 billion. So boom. We're going to build this. I built this like right off the bat when I first did the scenario. These were like the 2 buildings I built first because the land value was super cheap. Here, I can sell Pebble Beach Estates for like $9.8 billion and get a nice quick $7.1 billion profit. Okay? So that's going to take care of those 2 items. And, oh yeah, we're going to do something right here while I was over there. Had to remember, is that what I want to do is buy a train. Going to buy a 5-length train right here, commuter. And then I'm going to drop this right here. And now let's give it a root color. I'm going to go with 3, the kind of the yellow. Now I always do the turnarounds at the ends, at the end stations. I also like 10-minute waiting instead of 5. I also set departure times. So here, okay, so if it starts at 6, it'll get to Del Monte Forest on the return run at 8:01, and then get back to Monterey Bay Union at 8:36. So I'm going to set my loop time up for 3 hours. Going to make it go 5 times. So 2100 is when it comes back. So my time's going to be 5:50 to 21:10 when I set the hours. I wake my trains up 10 minutes before they're supposed to depart. That gives 10 minutes to load. Okay. and 550 and 2110. And then it gets back at 2100, 10 minutes to unload and then turn off. Okay? So this way, I'll rename this Monterey Bay Union to Monterey Presidio. Whoops. I guess I don't get the T on that one. Okay. So I've got each one of these lines is usually going to be multi-segment. This is the beginning of a line that'll run through the Presidio, then it'll go up and around the peninsula through Carmel, and then back out to Los Gatos. So right now, trains are only 5 lengths, stations are only 5 lengths, and one of the first big projects is going to be to expand everything to 7. Okay. Now, what I've got going here is, so I'm going to be buying some freight and stuff. So let's see. And then I will be buying some securities at some point. And I'm not going to be buying the so let's see, 1950. Whoops. Yeah, let's just go ahead and buy it now. Before I start buying, now where'd that all Japan, see Japan Cement goes, okay? So the shareholder benefit is a 3% reduction in material purchase price. So what I want to do is I'm going to buy 110 lots, okay? Cost me 2.1 billion. Boom. So I've got this. So I'm going to be selling a lot of material. So I want that 10%, that 3% reduction. It's going to save me 30K per item. Okay, so it's not a big savings, but a little savings times a whole lot of volume. Yeah, it will in time make a lot of money. So I didn't buy the first securities first because I discovered that it's only good for as long as you're buying stock. So I'd rather pay the 2% commission instead of 1, and then I can buy a stock that will give me a more long-term benefit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and oh wait, we need a plan. We need a plan. Okay, now you can see that I'm already behind on employees by 82, and it's going to get a lot worse. But I want to do this sales department expansion first so I can do 2 projects at a time. Then I can supplement staff and do the seasonal tour. But I'll be doing a lot of supplement staff, and then this way I can also do other things that I'm going to need, like expanding the vehicle expansion. So as you can see, I've already doing some things that you probably would think, almost might be crazy. But there's a plan here. Now, let's just go ahead and run. And I love Makoto is always going crazy about not enough money. Okay? So as you can see, there's a little bit of business going on here, as well as around Carmel. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm running clock until midnight. I do all of my building like at midnight. You can see here, right now it looks rather desolate. Doesn't look like it's the central of nothingness, but it will expand. Whoops. Now, okay, I only got 669 million, and Makoto's all worried about don't have enough money. Okay, because it looks like I lost a bunch of money. But let's have a little quick thing over here. Okay, so what I've done now is I bought inventory. So I've got fishies, I've got materials in two places, I've got agriculture in two places. Okay, so now what am I going to do? This is my first big purchase. I am going to buy, as you can see, all the vehicles are nice and red and yellow. I wanted to make sure they're nice and bright. You can see them running around the map nice and easy. I'm going to buy 15 trucks at once, 15 semi-trailers at once. Okay? Look at that discount, 28%. This is all about economy of scale. And A-Train definitely rewards you for thinking big. So now, I've got 15 semi-trailers. I'm going to build 5 truck stops, and then I'm going to place 3 trucks per truck stop. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead, get everything built, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. Back again, and as you can see, I've now built some truck stops and got the trucks into the truck stops, loaded up. My Salinas lettuce was a little tricky because, as you can see, my operation ends at 2240. So I placed these at midnight. Okay, so what I had to do was I had to turn my start and operation end hours to 0, so the trucks would basically run and load. Otherwise, all the other trucks ran and load just fine. And while I'm here, let me point out that my original thought when I created the scenario was to build the truck stop on this road right here across from the warehouse. And then I realized, no, I want to do it right here on this road. So I cut out one stop, one intersection and stuff. And then so I just sold this piece of land to make a little extra money since I'm not going to be needing it. And since I bought that little piece of farmland, which I don't know. I can't remember how much I paid for it. Maybe 20. I don't know. Maybe more. But so I've got all of my trucks set up. Now here in Turlock, I have my truck set up to run to Long Beach. Okay. I could route them to Los Gatos. But then what I'd have to do is add 30 minutes to the departure time. Now what I've been doing is I set my trucks up to run 4 times 2 load, that's 8, times 3 trucks, that's 24. So basically what I've got is a setup here for running trucks to deliver 24 per day, which tends to be a pretty good clip at full tilt, especially for the agriculture when it's really booming. So let's take a look here. As you can see, I've set up my trade deals, and since 24 seems to be a pretty common number here, I can deliver up to 24 items per day. So when I'm looking at this, like I'm thinking, how long is it going to take me to fulfill this Oakland contract? Well, 480 divided by 24, 20 days. Long Beach I can run the clock for like 12 days, and then it'll only have like about 2 left. Yes, I've been practicing with this, and I had to do beta testing and stuff. So what I wanted to do here is really set up so that you've got some materials to run, um, um, and you can start making some big money because you're going to need to be spending some big money. um, and it just, wanted it to be fun. Now, um, sometimes you got to be careful about the trade stuff. Sometimes later in the game, it could offer you stuff at less than cost, and you just got to not run. Um, Now, the reason I chose Long Beach over Los Gatos is that Los Gatos, the best for the agriculture, was 4.1 million. Even though Los Gatos, I've got 2 lots to sell. But since Long Beach only has one, I'm going to quickly sell out the Long Beach at the higher price. Then I'm going to have to switch trucks at night um, um, to go to the new destination. But then it's pretty simple. All the other trucks are, have steady routes. Uh, Other than Salinas Lettuce, which has like the shortest route and runs 4 hours and 20-minute loop for 4 times. Okay. And what I do is each truck, whoops, I stagger by half an hour. Okay, so this guy starts off 5:30, and then truck number 3 at 6. So I stagger them by half an hour so that they're not bunching up at the end destination unloading and stuff. Just makes it cleaner. It's also easier to just calculate, okay, when I'm doing the operating hours, then I'm just going to add half an hour to the start time. Truck 1 starts at 4:40 and ends at 22:40, whereas here you can see the truck starts and stops a half hour later. And it also makes it easy. Once I set up the first truck, then I can use copy all on the other 2, and that sets them up really nice. So, now, as you can see, it's day 2, and thanks to buying that, selling the land that we're not going to use for the freight line, we're actually making a profit overall, even though our operating loss is over 2 billion. And of course, what happens is you get tagged for the full depreciation on day 1 of the beginning of any year. So instead of it being amortized over, say, 12 monthly periods. So don't freak out that when you start the game that you're behind the 8 ball because of the depreciation. You'll make it up. Oh yeah, and now here's the other thing is here you can see I have some resource related sales and I have resource related expenses, and they look like kind of negative. The resource expenses include building the warehouses. Plus, what happens is on the here so we have 225 million in products. Okay, that's sitting on the balance sheet of the stuff that we bought. Now what we did is when we transferred from the warehouse to the trucks, we sold 63 million. And there's also going to be like about 63 million expense sitting in here, okay? Because then it'll transfer at the local price, not the trade price. Okay, so the local price is a lot lower, as you can see, than the price that's going to these areas. So. Don't worry that trucks show a negative early on. They'll make it up, okay? Because this represents that I bought 2 loads of lettuce at 2,180,000 each, so that's like 4,360,000. Plus what I did is 30K for dropping the truck on the road, and then a little bit to run it into the garage, into the truck stop. So don't worry early on about seeing losses. You know, this is you got to spend money to make money. Now, what I want to do is end this segment on a little train ride. So I'm going to start here at Fisherman's Wharf, and I'm going to run some clock. I'm going to take a little train ride. Now, what I'm actually going to do is run clock until the 14th in one big fell swoop. And that'll be so that I can sell. Okay, let's just get him turned around. Now, here we go. So let's take a little train ride. And it's wide open right now here in 4 Hour Central, but believe me, now once you'll fill up 8 platforms of track, okay? I've got 6 laid out, and then there's another 2 that you can just kind of use your imagination with. And I decided to do this train run because by the next segment, this train run will not be a single train, it'll be 2. So I decided to do this now. See, there's Seaside up on the right there. And the berm is like the border. And it's going to be a train station right there on the left called Monterey Memorial. And then we're coming up. I'm going to be building another train station up here on the right. Right there on the right. So now we're coming up into Monterey. And you can't really see it because of all the big buildings. But right here to the right is the soccer stadium. And this is the Monterey Bay Union station. And there actually is the Monterey Bay Union soccer team. Second tier USL championship team. Which is cool. It's like our first really kind of sports team. Local. And now what we're doing is we're pulling into Monterey, where you can see part of Dennis the Menace Park. And I love it, man. Makato's always whining about, we're almost out of money. You know, relax, X-lax, I got it under control. And let's pop out again. And yeah, what I wanted to do was make this a kind of a fun scenario. A lot of things that you can do as far as all the different kind of things that you can build. I've already got things built. You know, I wanted to use this race course, and basically this is so huge and it's public property. I don't think most people want to build something like this, and it would cost a lot of money. So I'm going to be back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be running clock until the 14th. Hopefully get one of these buildings sold so that I can work on the next step of the process, which is going to be to expand my stations and trains to 7 from 5. I'm also going to add 3 trains and 4 train stations. Here it is, April 28th, midnight. And I've made some nice progress. Okay. I managed to sell the Pebble Beach Estates very early on. But I waited until the 14th until I actually, you know, I just let the clock run until the 14th, and then started doing some stuff. So on the 14th, what I did was built Del Monte Shopping, Monterey Memorial, and yeah, this was a surprise to me that this Monument 3 would make this area so popular. When I was first laying out track, I never envisioned a train station here. But now that I'm playing, it's kind of like, oh yeah, and it's within range of the Monument 3, so that gives me two different ways to move people that way. And I built another station here at Mid Carmel Valley and at Ord Village. Okay. So now all of my stations are at a length of 7. All of my trains are now at a length of 7. And now what you see is that I have expanded. I bought 3 trains so that I could turn this blue 7 line, okay, into 2 segments. And so instead of running about 5 hours and 20 minutes for a loop, we're actually running a lot quicker. That's not the one I wanted to show. Where is it? This guy. So now he's running like 5 times into Fort Ord Central. So I'm trying to, get people into Fort Ord Central. So each line I split into 2, and then from Monterey Bay, they went to Carmel Plaza. I had the train now. Whoops. There we go. No. There we go. Stop at Monterey Presidio. So that now, this was, I think, like about a 6-hour and 15-minute route. So I broke it down a bit so that we could run more times. And the nice thing is that now that all of the trains are at 7 in length, their capacity now is 980. And since they can do double capacity, that means 1960. And that's when you're really, really, really raking in the bucks. Okay? So I've got that expansion going. I also made certain to build some apartment 4s. Now, some of them have been completed, but I haven't put them up for sale yet. Put them up, in beta testing, I found if I put these up for sale, they will sell before this other big one will sell. So right now, I'm just letting them operate. And so what I did is, as I got money in, I took advantage of a couple of the subsidies here for building residential in, the construction costs. So I had 3 for Monterey, 2 each for Carmel and Fort Ord. Now, I was big on trade last time. Now, what happened is I was originally selling agriculture to Long Beach, but then on the 14th, I had to basically switch up and move to, start doing Los Gatos. So what I ended up doing, whoops. You can see these guys are still kind of running. Okay. So now the loop time is 5 hours and 40 minutes instead of 5 hours and 10 minutes. And the operating hours are now 2 hours later to 4 in the morning instead of 2. And as you can see, it wakes up again at 4:40. So it's operating almost the whole day when it's running to Los Gatos. And what I ended up doing is on the 14th at midnight, there were 2 left. So what I did was just I waited until they came back to the truck stop around 2 a.m. in the morning. and then I just go into operating days and turn them off. Okay. And then that way they wouldn't run. And what I did here was just with this guy, come in here and set departure settings from 4 to 1. Then when it came back and reloaded, I could quickly set the thing back to 4 times, but turn it off and save some money. I did that so that I could build up. It was like 9:35 in the morning, so this didn't get any agriculture yet. Okay, and so I figured, well, I might as well let it stock up for one day and then start running again like crazy. And as you can see, it's already down to 4 out of. It started out with 46. And so now, like my Oakland here is going to take me about 6 days at around 24 per day. And yeah, the trade is making the money. So let's look at the income statement. So look at that resource-related sales, 16.5 billion, and costs of about 12.1. So making 4.4 billion right there in a month on resource sales. Wow. My railroad sales are increasing. Not bad that I did 1.5 billion, and railroad expenses just under a half. So I've already made 1 billion in railroad sales. The road transport sales, I don't expect to make a ton of money on that. And as long as it's just a little bit ahead, that's fine with me. Right now, subsidiary sales, I'm not looking to make a ton of money on subsidiary sales because I'm playing build and flip. So now, oh yeah, and after I sold that one property, first thing that I did was I went into pay off my bank loan, minimize interest. And now what I'm doing is, as you can see, I'm up to 4.8 billion in loan limit. So right now, what I'm doing is just trying to make money and build up loan value and the loan confidence. What I want to do, oh yeah, let's look at what else I've been doing. I had already bought the Sea of Japan cement just before on like the second, so that I would, on the first, so that I could take advantage of the 3% savings. And then when I had the big money, what I did was went for Konjac Steelworks, which is a 5% reduction in base price for trains, and Pacific Rail 5% reduction in train laying expenses. Okay, and trying to catch these before they go up in value, so that I get a little more value and stuff. And then what I like to do is I'll build stations. Like right here, I like the 4, and it takes 8 materials. Oops, I'm not going to actually do that, but I like this ground level 4. Takes 8 materials, takes 8 days. So what I try to do is run for 7 days, so that on the day that they're going to complete, what I do is if there are any trains that, like say when I'm doing the expansion, I had to 3 stations that I had to expand. And of course, what I did is I ran the clock to the day after. I always like to wait until the day after something builds before I decide to sell it, or like with the stations, to connect track to it and stuff. Okay. So then So if I stop a day early, get any stations built up, run it to about 6 o'clock when the trains are just starting to take off and stuff. Catch a station when it's empty, and then I do the expansion. And as you can see here, this Monterey Bay Union is now expanded out to the left because I have my buildings there. So it kind of makes the route a little bit shorter in between. And so yeah, now what I want to do is my next big step is going to be connecting up these two to Los Gatos and Long Beach. Okay, off to the left for Los Gatos, and then straight down on the map to Long Beach. And I'm going to do that together. And so now what I'm doing is just waiting to get this guy sold, and then I can start putting these guys up, the apartment 4s up for sale. And I'll just keep running clock until I get to a point. I bought the stock. The temptation is to just start laying rail right away and stuff. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and so your rail empire won't be built in a day. And I figure it's just better to, spend some money on stocks that don't take up employees, and then wait and make sure that I build things more cost effectively for the long run. So I'll be back when probably in about a month or so, when I get to the point where I've connected up the two southern routes to off map. I now have some new trains and train stations and train lines. I now have gotten to the point where I have connected up Fort Ord Central to the two off-map routes that I wanted to. So here, I went from there to the Fort Ord Lakers, Fort Ord Imjin River. For those who might know that the Imjin River is in South Korea, there is an Imjin Parkway on Fort Ord now that remembers that honors the battle there. And 7th Infantry used to be stationed at Fort Ord. And Devendorf Park, that's a park in Carmel, right downtown Carmel. So now, let's take a look at what I did. Now, after getting the second big subsidiary sold, what I did was I ended up buying Boundless Bank. I bought it a bit earlier at $25.50, and now it's already at $26.80. So, what I figured was I'm buying stock up early on before it goes up in value. The Boundless Bank is going to be good because I'm going to borrow money a whole bunch, okay? And now, as you can see, I borrowed $6 billion, but now I'm only at 11.7% interest instead of 12.7% interest. And yeah, I'll be paying this off in a couple of months. Now, here's some fun that I want to, and I just figured this out recently. So you can see that I've got 3 new subsidies coming, okay? And these are going to be for the ground level train construction land price subsidized by X percentage, okay? So now, most of the land, let's come up here. If I, run track here, you can see that I get no land price. Okay, over here, no land price. Now, if I do that, you notice that I'm picking up land price of 491 million for crossing the street here, but not for the land that I already own. So how did I do this? Okay, to take advantage of the subsidy, I ran track from here to there. Yep, let's get out of the track laying. And so what I did is I crossed the streets with the track. Came down here. I think I did this run from like here up through here. Okay, from here to here in one fell swoop because I knew that it would be within 3 kilometers. Then I crossed the street here, crossed the street here, crossed the street. Actually, I ran from like here to here just so that I'd have a nice smooth curve here. And then I stopped here. This is the end of Carmel, and there begins Fort Ord. Okay? So I maximized the amount of subsidy I could get to 2.165 billion. Now, the Fort Ord, I got 876 million. This was where I really maxed it out. Okay? Fort Ord starts here. So, of course, I just ran a little line right there. Then I crossed all the streets. Like that. Did those. I think I actually went from like here to there in one little swoop. But then what I did is I went from here to here because I knew that I had to buy land here. Okay. Then I came down and I also crossed this highway right there. Okay. Then I filled in all the spaces in between. Now, I had been doing this multiple times. If I started, say, at Fort Ord Central and ran track to the Lakers and then ran down and ran across, I could end up with no subsidy. And so I figured out this sly way to now. And the thing is that it all depends on. See, Carmel, it was 3 kilometers. Fort Ord was 2 kilometers. Belltown was 3 kilometers. And in Belltown, say I did the same thing of first crossing the avenues and then filling in between. Running off the map does not buy land, so it didn't increase the subsidy. But this was a slick little trick, that'll work for this scenario the way I have it set up. So you can take advantage of the land price subsidy. And it's just a matter of kind of being sneaky about it. Learn the rules of the game and then take advantage of them. Okay? So once I got enough money, I, of course, built double tracks here because what I wanted to do was run both tracks at the same time, cheaper to build, and I'm also taking advantage of economy of scale so that when I buy, whoops, come on, 3, I get a discount of 9%. I start out with the 5% from the stock, and then adding 2 more adds 4 more percent to that. So now this was, I wanted to get this squared away. And of course this cost about 15 billion. I could have started the trade port research. Because right now I can't sell any material, I don't have any sales opportunities for materials in Oakland or Long Beach, okay? I do overseas. Here's like 740 and no restriction 1.7, so not very good pricing there. But right now, my first thought was get Fort Ord Central connected up. I've got some tourists coming in now from off map from Los Gatos to the west and Long Beach to the south. Now, I want to show you something here. Notice that my population is now 471K. It started out at 568K. There's been almost 100,000 in population shrinkage. This was one of the little problems I had to deal with the scenario design. I had originally started out at 804,000. And then I noticed it went down to 570 before, after 10 years, I got it up to 658. So I whacked it down to 568K. I replaced a ton of residential with the high density residential with commercial and a bit of recreation. Which boosted my economy level up from about 2.4 to like about 3.897. Notice that now my economy level is down to about 3.677 trillion. Okay, but I noticed the population shrinkage on the Resort Reborn scenario, but since the scenario doesn't, starts with a lower population, wasn't as much population shrinkage. And it's kind of tough to figure out what was the proper ratio of residential to commercial and stuff. So now I actually have some tourists coming in, okay, and everything's looking good. I think Reiko is telling me that San Francisco wants a line hooked up, but right now the most important thing was to get Fort Ord Central. I already have this already set up. When I do San Francisco, I'll have to remodel Fort Ord Central so that it's going to have an extra platform, and then I can run straight up to the top of the map. But now my next goal is going to be, oh yeah, let's look at plans. So now I'm supplementing staff. I picked up 18, so I've got 168 from 150, but I need over 400 right now, okay? And I researched the seasonal tour, and now my next bit of research is the fare decrease. My usage was at 75%, which is what I had set it at in the scenario editor. It started out at 80, but since this is California, I figured I'd drop it down a little bit. Just to make differentiate my scenario from others. Now, so my next plan is, so I did the bank. Okay, I'm gonna now. What I've done is after about 2 months, I've done pretty well. As you can see, I've got some serious. I'm operating profit is over 7.6 billion. You can see that the resource-related sales of 33. I got cost of 24, so I'm making 9 billion right there. Okay, my railroad sales are starting to look good. 4 billion, cost 1, so I'm making 3 billion in profit there. Basically holding my own in road transport sales. That's all I want. Making a little bit on my subsidiary sales. Right now, I just don't have enough to do anything. Okay. Basically, as you can see, I've already picked up 1.1 billion in subsidy revenue. I paid almost 18 million in interest, but there's my profit on those two subsidiaries that I start in the beginning, almost $15 billion. So when we look at the balance sheet now, you can see my marketable securities are now up to 16 billion. So I think I've maybe bought about a whole bunch of, more than double, I think. Probably about 11 billion that I spent. Like I said, the natural tendency is to want to keep building rail, keep expanding, okay? But that costs employees. So now my big plan is going to be to go ahead and build up I'm going to pay off the loan and then build up my cash so that I'm going to have the 15 billion to then set my trade port to running. And I can also increase vehicle capacity because obviously I'm at 19 out of 20 on trucks and buses. Now I'm up to 11 trains. Okay, I started at 4 with 20 cars. Now I have 7 trains with 77 cars. So I've got a whole bunch of um, capacity now. And I got to what I've got to do is start build, just slowing down, build up my money. I'm also going to have to pay taxes at the end of the year. One of the downsides of being very successful, 23 billion net earnings before taxes, is now I'm going to owe 9 billion. Okay, so I'm also before the end of the fiscal year got to start saving up money for that. So this is going to be the end of this episode, and I hope that you enjoy watching me kind of start, building up, showing you tricks of the scenario and stuff uh, as the creator. And of course, I've done a lot of beta testing and stuff. And my next video, I'll be back when I actually have the money and am, dropping the trade port.